mandating recall of Senator Natasha, asks her to respect due process. Benue, Nasarawa and Plateau states collaborate to curb persistent humanitarian crisis in North Central communities. Hello and welcome to the news at 11 on NTA News24. I am Charles Alpha. President Bola Tinubu has enjoined leaders, particularly in the southwest, to carry on the values of consistency, sincerity, and boldness that the late Awujale of Ijebuland or Basikiru Kayode Adetono represented. President Tinubu was in Ijebu Day at the 8th day prayer for the deceased, who one of the longest was 7 traditional rulers in Nigeria. State House correspondent Musbadan Wahab reports.
This is another important outing for President Bola Tinubu and First Lady Oluremi. The president returning to the palace of Awujale in Ijebu-Ode, to where he made his first official visit shortly after his inauguration in 2023. This time to honor the memory after the exit of one of the monarchs he so revered. Even in death, President Tinubu carried on the love and respect for the departed as he proceeded to the Dikwa Dinner Stadium for the 8th day prayers. Dignitaries joined Ijebu indigenes here to seek God acceptance for the 57th Awujale at the end of his 65-year reign.
Our tomorrow will it be better than today? It depends on what we are doing.
President Tinubu, who recounted the role of the king in the June 12th struggle and the support he got from him ahead of his election, believed the monarch lived a fulfilled life characterized by great virtues.
Leader of conscience, tradition, and a great value. He brought pride, dignity, and honor to the Yoruba race. I'm extremely proud of him. Very honest, very bold, very courageous, very truthful. He will not deceive you. We have to be more united. His legacy we endure. It's left for you and I to reflect the culture, the value that he represented. God Almighty will grant him a legion of fidelis.
Under his watchful gaze and inspirational leadership, Ijebuland witnessed unprecedented progress. It became the bridge between our cherished past and our promising future. His enduring contribution to the unity, pride, and identity of Ijebu people will be remembered for many generations.
He was also at the palace where he met and condoled with family members of the departed traditional ruler. The President and First Lady Oluremi paid their last respect as they laid wreaths on the royal tomb of the deceased. Late Basikiru Kayode Adetono, whose demise coincided with that of former President Muhammadu Buhari, was 91. The President is back in Abuja. Musbah Wahab, NTA News.
The most senior member of the Buhari family, the family of the late President Muhammadu Buhari, Malam Baman Daura, has, on behalf of the family, expressed gratitude to President Bola Tinubu and his wife, the First Lady Senator Remi Tinubu, for their role and that of government of the Federation before and after the passing of the former president. A statement by Garba Shehu, late President Buhari's spokesperson, states that the family is truly comforting to receive such support from the President and the Vice President Kashim Shettima, who went to the United Kingdom and was in Daura for the days he and the ministers during the mourning period. The family is deeply grateful to the President on his thoughtful gesture in declaring a public holiday and renaming the University of Maiduguri after Buhari. Gratitude also goes to leaders of the various countries around the globe who either came in person, sent representatives, sent letters, or placed personal telephone calls to commiserate with us. Special notes were those of the King of England, King Charles III, the Secretary General of the United Nations, the Deputy Secretary General Amina Mohammed, the Chairman of the African Union, and that of the Committee of Heads of State and Government of ECOWAS countries, and former Head of State Absalami Abubakar, among other dignitaries. Muslims in their numbers have held a special prayer session for the repose of the soul of the late former Nigerian leader Muhammadu Buhari. The dual session, which coincided with the 7th day of his departure, was organized by the Ansar-Din Islamic Society. Abubakar Akwanga reports.
We pray that Allah will forgive our father.
It was a solemn moment at the Ansar-Din Mosque, but this time tears and sorrows had fizzled away and were replaced with fervent prayers for the repose of the soul of the late former President Muhammadu Buhari. Islamic scholars and other religious adherents observed the recitation of the glorious Quran from Surah Al-Fatiha to Baqarah and performed communal supplication for forgiveness and mercy upon the departed. Former ministers in the late president's cabinet and other prominent Nigerians who attended the 7th-day prayer session described Buhari as a true patriot who redefined leadership in Nigeria and appreciated President Bola Ahmed Tinubu for his exemplary leadership during the demise of the former president.
We'll continue to pray for him. Everybody is praying for him, and we thank everyone for the prayers.
I may not have worshipped with them the way they worship, but at least I was present to honor President Buhari.
Continue to pray for him, whether you're a Muslim or Christian. We ask all our leaders, from councillor to president, that she emulate him.
I recommend everyday prayer, and prayer also for our leaders.
Scholars and personalities appealed to Nigerians to sustain prayers for present and departed Nigerian leaders who fought and are still fighting for the unity, peace, stability, and progress of the Nigerian state. In Abuja, Abubakar Akwanga, NTA News.
The Senate reaffirms that there is no subsisting court order mandating the Senate to recall Senator Natasha Akpoti-Uduaghan before the expiration of her suspension. Chairman, Senate Committee on Media and Public Affairs, Yemi Adaramodu, in a statement says this clarification becomes necessary following the circulating claims by the suspended senator that she intends to resume the Senate next Tuesday after based on a misinterpretation of the recent judgment delivered by Justice Binta Nyako of the Federal High Court in Abuja. He adds that it was surprising and legally untenable that Senator Akpoti-Uduaghan, while on appeal and having filed a motion for stay against the valid and binding orders made against her, is attempting to act upon an imaginary order of recall that does not exist. The statement advised the senator to refrain from any attempt to storm the Senate next Tuesday, as doing so would not only be premature, but also undermine the dignity of the Senate and violate due process. The Senate, he says, as a law-abiding institution, is committed to upholding the rule of law and the integrity of its proceedings, and it will not tolerate the disruption of its proceedings. It asks Senator Natasha to respectfully stay away from the Senate chambers and allow due process to run its full course. And Deputy Speaker of the House of Representatives and Chairman House Committee on Constitution Review has assured Nigerians that their submission for the ongoing review of the 1999 Constitution will be duly transmitted to the National Assembly for consideration. He made this known at the Southeast Center B during the ongoing Constitution Review public hearing in Owerri. Beatrice Anyam reports that prominent among the demands of the people is creation of more states for the zone.
Participants at the 1999 Constitution Review public hearing for Southeast Center B, comprising Imo and Abia states, the event afforded them the opportunity to make inputs in the efforts to address lapses in the nation's constitution. Various groups took time to analyze some of their concerns, some of which include the creation of more states, reservation of 182 seats for women in the national and state assemblies, well-equipped education system, as well as the independence of the judiciary and INEC. Imo State Governor Hope Uzodimma and his Abia State counterpart, represented by his deputy Ikechukwu Emeto, called for decentralization of policing and active participation of women in the country's leadership and all-inclusive governance.
I wish to call for the constitutional integration of rotational presidency. Not alone the ambiguous job and sound divide. Since we have six political zones, it should be included in our constitution.
I will vote for the creation of state police force with the proviso that standards be clearly defined.
The Deputy Speaker, House of Representatives, and Chairman, House Committee on Constitution Review, Benjamin Okezie-Kalu, who disclosed that the committee is considering 87 prioritized constitutional amendment bills, each touching on the most pressing issues facing the nation, promised to convey all the inputs made by the stakeholders to the National Assembly.
The people have spoken, the Parliament has listened, we will go back to the plenary and then look at it.
It is the expectations of the people that the process will yield the desired results. In Owerri, Beatrice Anyam, NTA News.
Meanwhile, a delegation from the House of Representatives Committee on the Federal Road Maintenance Agency, FEMA, has embarked on an oversight tour of federal road projects in the Northeast and Northwest, expressing concerns about the pace and quality of work delivered by contractors. The oversight visit covering Borno, Yobe, and Jigawa states is part of efforts to assess the implementation of roads project approved in the 2024 national budget. Pauline Kujewada reports.
In Borno State, where insecurity continues to hinder reconstruction efforts, the committee could not physically access major roads like the Dekwanga-Barungala Highway leading to Cameroon and the Meduguri-Demboabu Road. Instead, they were briefed by Federal Road Maintenance Agency FEMA representatives overseeing road works in the state, where the chairman and members of the committee raised observations regarding the challenges presented. In Yobe State, Governor Mai Malabuni received the delegation and decried the effect of climate change on road infrastructure, expressing dissatisfaction with the slow pace of federal road projects and requested the reconstruction of the Gaydam-Menaso border route to enhance security and tackle transborder crimes.
Like I said, will help us to address especially the fixing of our roads.
As the committee proceeded to Dute, the capital of Jigawa State, they inspected ongoing works along the Darazo-Misau-Birnin-Kudu Road corridor, where further observations were made on project delivery. Governor Umar Namadi of Jigawa commended the federal government's commitment to revamping road infrastructure, but urged renewed attention to economically strategic roads that have been abandoned.
As of today, Mr. Chairman, Jigawa State is number one in Nigeria in terms of road networks.
Chairman of the House Committee on FEMA, Aderemi Osheni, praised FEMA's efforts despite limited resources and assured that the National Assembly will work closely with the executive to ensure improved funding for the agency.
What we have covered so far and what has been recovered from the work done is as if we have not really made sufficient progress.
The oversight visit concluded with a recommendation that road projects be equitably distributed across all states to promote fairness and national inclusiveness. In Maiduguri, Pauline Kujevana, NTA News.
We'll take a quick break now. More reports ahead. Stay with us.
It's engaging, it's refreshing, and impacting. Are you interested in contributing to the Nigerian project? Are you keen on adding your voice to the making of the Nigeria of our dream? Are you willing to be part of the new tribe of Nigeria that are sold on doing the right thing always? Then join the conversation every Saturday by 5 p.m. on Impact Nigeria on NTA News24. It's a live interactive discussion program that focuses on values, reorientation, and nation building. Join our team of passionate Nigerians as they dissect key ethical issues that impact Nigeria and Nigerians. Be part of our program live and via our social media platforms. Saturdays, 5 p.m. and repeat broadcast Sundays, 1:03 p.m. Impact Nigeria, coming soon on NTA News24. Join us.
Thank you for staying with us. In order to further strengthen the relationship between Nigeria and the USA, the mayor of Houston, Mayor John Whitemeyer, has called for direct flights between Nigeria and Houston, as well as opening a Nigerian consulate in the state. A statement by Abdurrahman Balogun, the Director of Media, Public Relations and Protocol Units, Nigerians in Diaspora Commission. The directive was the highlights of the meeting between Chairman CEO Nigerians in Diaspora Commission, Abike Dabiri Irewa, and Mayor Pro Tem Martha Cartex Tatum, representing Mayor John Whitemeyer in Texas, USA. The mayor noted that Houston hosts one of the largest population of Nigerians in the U.S. Therefore, measures would further deepen collaboration in areas such as consular representation, trade, and diaspora engagement. On the call for the establishment of a Nigerian consulate in Houston, as well as the commencement of direct flight, Dabiri assured that the ministers of Foreign Affairs and Aviation in Nigeria are looking into both requests. They both described the meeting as productive and forward-looking, underlining Houston's commitment to stronger Nigeria-US ties. Now, amid worsening insecurity bedeviling parts of the north-central states, the governments of Benue, Nasarawa, and Plateau states have initiated a collaborative effort to curb the persistent humanitarian crisis in affected communities. The initiative was unveiled when the Executive Secretary of the Emergency Management Agency of the three states met to strategize on addressing the crisis and preventing its escalation. Blessing Omeche Ebute reports.
North Central region of the country has had its own share of insecurity, ranging from kidnapping, armed robbery, and in recent times attacks by armed herders. This development has led to the death of thousands and displacement of many. Playing host to the Director General of the Nasarawa State Emergency Management Agency, Ben Akwash, and his Plateau State counterpart, Sunday Abu, the Benue State SEMA boss, James Yopo, said the meeting was convened not only to express solidarity with the people of Benue over the recent Yelwata attack, but also to seek a united approach in tackling the deepening humanitarian challenges in the region.
We start working together as a body, as a team. And then we find ways of trying to collaborate among ourselves to respond to certain nonsense.
He added that the three states have resolved to enhance interstate collaboration to curb the incident invasion, noting that attackers often cross state borders to attack. In his remark, the Nasarawa State SEMA boss, Ben Akwash, said the meeting also served as a platform to step up disaster preparedness, particularly in the area of flooding.
To the extent that we're in the same business of disaster management, it has become necessary for us to interface explore ways of collaborating and cooperating with each other in advancing these our respective causes. We have come to understudy the secret of Benue's progress in humanitarian management.
The meeting underscored the growing recognition that regional cooperation is essential to addressing the complex security and humanitarian crises affecting the Middle Belt states. In Makurdi, Blessing Omeche Ebute, NTA News.
Imo State Police Command says it has recorded tremendous success in its intensified fight against violent crimes across the state. A statement by the command's police public relations officer, Harry Okoye, states that over the past 6 months, operatives of the command has arrested 2,785 suspects who engaged in various crimes ranging from kidnapping, terrorism, child trafficking, armed robbery, among others. The operation resulted in the rescue of 42 stolen children, many of whom have since been reunited with their families. The statement also notes that among the key suspects arrested include notorious members of the indigenous people of Biafra and its armed affiliates, East Security Network, alleged to be responsible for multiple attacks on security formations and public infrastructure in Jaba local government area of the state. The suspects were arrested when the operatives of the command raided their camp in the area. The suspects, during interrogations confessed to the kidnapped and murder of one Emmanuel Okuzie, allegedly on the orders of their commander known as Asari. Also arrested is a kidnapped gang who allegedly kidnapped their victim in his compound at Akabo in Ikeduru local government area of June 20, 2025 and held him in one of their members' residence. The suspects had already collected 2.2 million naira ransom before the joint operation by the operatives of the command and local vigilante led to their arrest while their victims were rescued. And let's now quickly remind you some of our top stories. President Bola Tinubu calls on Nigerian leaders to uphold moral values with boldness. Senate reaffirms no subsistent court order mandating recall of Senator Natasha, asks her to respect due process. And Benue, Nasarawa, and Plateau states collaborate to curb persistent humanitarian crisis in north-central communities.
This is NTA News24.
Now, disability advocates are calling for prioritizing inclusive support to address the challenges of mental health issues across the country, especially those stemming from neglected tropical diseases. Gufran Jaji Uwanyi reports.
Children working in the farms, playing in the streets, coming in contact with a lot of diseases that cannot be diagnosed.
Statistics show that Nigeria has a significant burden of neglected tropical diseases, often overlooked due to lack of awareness and sensitization.
And most times when people are diagnosed with this ailment, people assume that this is witchcraft. So the isolation and the trauma becomes too much to the extent that some people start to become suicidal. So what we're doing here today is to really sensitize the public on how to properly address these issues.
Some victims of neglected tropical diseases explain the necessity of improved support for persons with disabilities in Nigeria.
So I think there is need to increase knowledge of health workers,
and the aspect of diagnosing the disease and the right treatment. Also the knowledge of parents at home, just basic knowledge of what they will see and suspect, and then come to the health care, and then the health care workers will pick it up from there.
People that are working under the hospital, they are discriminating them, and them they have in their own facility, they have a clinic, but they don't have enough drugs in the hospital. They need government or some organization to brought drugs for their hospital.
They also urge stakeholders to join in prioritizing inclusive support for persons with disabilities affected by NTDs. In Abuja, Gufan Shaji Ugwanyi, NTA News.
This is where we end the news. Many thanks for watching. I am Charles Alpha.
NTA.